Your payslip has a problem. It only pays you for what just happened. The hours you worked, the emails you answered, the meetings you survived, the customer you dealt with while your soul quietly left your body. The payslip looks backwards. It says, you gave us this much time, so here is this much money. Ownership works differently. Ownership often gets paid for what might happen next. A wage is usually priced after the work has happened. An asset is often valued before the reward has arrived. And that helps explain why some people in Britain feel like they are working hard, doing everything right, and still falling behind people who seem to be playing a different game. Imagine a normal high street cafe. Not a tech startup, not a giant chain, just a small cafe with a foggy window, a stubborn card machine, and a laminated menu that has seen things. There is a worker behind the counter. They make coffees, clear tables, take payments, deal with the lunch rush, and try to keep smiling when somebody orders just a coffee. At the end of the week, they get paid. That pay is for work already done. The time has been spent. The shift is gone. The worker cannot sell that Tuesday again. There is no market where last Thursday's sandwich shift has gone up in value because investors are suddenly bullish on paninis. The time became wages. Then the wages became rent, bills, food, petrol, childcare, debt repayments, and maybe a little bit of savings if the month behaved itself. Work becomes pay. Pay becomes survival. Then Monday arrives and the meter resets. Now look at the same cafe from the owner's side. The owner might also work there. They might be in early, out late, covering sickness, arguing with suppliers, fixing broken equipment, and wondering why electricity now costs roughly the same as a small yacht. Ownership has risk. Businesses fail. Costs rise. Customers disappear. Something expensive breaks at the exact worst moment. But if ownership works, something different happens. The cafe produces profit. That is the first payment. After wages, rent, ingredients, insurance, repairs, and everything else, there might be money left over. But a profitable business is not just a thing that pays money today. It is a thing someone else might buy because they believe it will pay money tomorrow. If the cafe reliably makes $30,000 a year in profit, a buyer is not just buying tables, coffee machines, and a suspiciously loud fridge. They are buying the future profits. So the cafe might be worth $90,000, $120,000, maybe more. That is the second payment. The owner can take income from the business while they own it. Then if the business becomes valuable, they may be able to sell the business itself. Paid from the machine, then paid for the machine. That is what owners get paid twice means. Not literally twice for the same hour. It means ownership can create two kinds of money. Cash flow now, value later. Most workers only get the first kind, and only while they keep working. This pattern is everywhere. A landlord can receive rent every month, while the property itself may rise in value. A shareholder can receive dividends, while the shares may also become more valuable. A pension works on a similar principle. Bit by bit, it owns pieces of companies, bonds and other assets. Some produce income, some rise in value, some do both. The details change, the principle does not. Work pays for the past. Ownership prices the future. This is why two people can be attached to the same building and experience it completely differently. For a renter, a house is a monthly bill. It is the thing that must be paid before savings, investing, getting ahead, or replacing the tyre that has developed a worrying bulge. For an owner, the house does two jobs. It provides somewhere to live, but also usually becomes more valuable. Same building, same walls, same extractor fan that makes noise but achieves nothing, but one person experiences it as a cost, the other experiences it as a shelter plus a balance sheet. Britain talks constantly about income. Who earns 30 grand, who earns 50 grand, who earns 80 grand, who got a pay rise, who is being taxed too much, who is not being paid enough. All of that matters, but wealth is where the gap becomes much bigger. The Office for National Statistics estimated that median household wealth in Great Britain was just under $294,000 between April 2020 and March 2022, but the wealthiest 10% of households had 1.2 million or more. The least wealthy 10% had 16,500 or less. That difference is not mainly because one group worked dozens of times harder, it is because one group owns far more of the things that can grow. Homes, pensions, shares, businesses, savings. Assets sitting quietly in the background, sometimes doing more for a household's future than another year of careful budgeting ever could. A higher income can make life easier. Ownership can change your position. Income helps you afford the month. Assets can change what the month means. If you have no assets, every bill is just a bill. If you own assets, some payments may be attached to things that are building your net worth. A mortgage can be painful. but part of it might be buying more of your house. Rent is usually just gone. A business loan can be stressful, but it might be funding something that becomes valuable. A car loan is usually financing a metal object that is quietly evaporating on the driveway. Not all payments lead somewhere. Some are just pain with admin. The tax system adds another layer. Wages arrive through payroll, with tax and national insurance taken before most people even touch the money. Investment income is treated differently. Dividends, capital gains and rental income have separate rules. This is not tax-free money, but it gives owners something valuable: timing and control. This also explains why productivity does not automatically make workers richer. Imagine the cafe installs a new ordering system. Customers order faster, mistakes fall, waste drops, profit improves. Who gets that gain? The customer might get cheaper coffee, the worker might get higher wages, the owner might keep more profit, or the business might become more valuable because future profits now look better. There is no law of nature that says productivity gains must become pay rises. They go where the power allows them to go. That is the real argument behind things like automation and AI, not just will machines take jobs. The sharper question is, when technology makes work more productive, who owns the machine that benefits? Because if workers use the tool, but owners own the result, the country can become more productive while many people still feel stuck. The numbers go up somewhere, just not necessarily on your payslip. Most people are not choosing between being a worker and owning a national coffee empire. They are choosing between getting through the month and somehow building a small piece of ownership in the background, a pension contribution, a stocks and shares ISA, a tiny business, a website, a side project, a skill that can become a product, something that does not need you to sell the same hour forever. None of this is easy, especially when housing costs are high, childcare is brutal, food has gone up, tax thresholds are frozen, and the car has picked today to need new brakes. So, just buy assets is not advice, it's barely even a sentence, but the direction matters. If every pound you earn is consumed by the month, you are trapped in backwards looking money. You are always being paid for what just happened. The aim is to slowly build something that is valued because of what might happen next. That is why owners get paid twice. First from the money an asset produces, second from the value other people place on its future. And that leads to the next question. If assets are so powerful, why do they keep becoming so expensive? Where does all the money come from to bid up houses, businesses and investments? Most people imagine new money entering the economy as notes rolling off a government printing press. But in modern Britain, much of it is created in a quieter way. And that is what we're going to discuss in the next video.